Female clients face a number of issues that men don't tend to face. And these are a double bind, implicit bias, and parenting support. So the double bind shows up, for example, I work with a lot of women who are negotiating. So the double bind is, let's say you show up and you're a really tough negotiator. People are much more likely to say that, well, she was really good, but I don't really want to work with her, because you're not fitting into stereotypical female behavior around caretaking for other people. So on the other hand, if you don't negotiate firmly and negotiate well, you don't really have the chops for the job. So it's like, which is it? And women can often get stuck in this, this double bind here. And so there's a very thin edge for them to walk in order to really show that they have the chops for the job and to find ways to be seen as team players and somebody that people want to work with. Another thing is implicit bias, right? All the ways in which, you know, in working with technical women and scientific women, people will say, well, you don't look like a scientist. You're not a typical scientist. So women that don't show up and look like the type of leader that people are expecting. We saw this just recently with NASA and the spacewalk. I don't know if you remember last week, we were going to see the first all-women spacewalk in the history of NASA, and it didn't go forward because they didn't have a spacesuit that fit a woman, because women's bodies are different. We're sized differently, and the world is really designed around the average man. So it's interesting when you begin to see all of the ways in which this pops up, and then women aren't allowed to step into these experiences or are able to step into these experiences because of the way that it's all set up. And then finally, I would say parenting support. Women aren't the only parents, and certainly men play a role, but we do have a unique role in the propagation of the human species. And so we need to think about how our work environment and our culture and our social expectations really support and foster that role, so that women don't have to choose, I either want to pursue my career or I want to be a parent and a present parent in the way that they want to be. And right now we're not seeing a lot of support for that in a number of different industries.